Hey, that looks kind of familiar. Lobotomy Ego Solemn Lament Sang is an ID that looks on paper to be scarily complex, but he's pretty easy to explain. Let's go over his general stats first. 203 health, average health, 3 to 8 speed, average speed, actually pretty good. 6'2", pretty good. Normal to slash, ineffective against Pierce, because Pierce is kind of his thing, and Fatal Blunt. This ID for sinking is so good, there's a entire team comp around him, similar to how there's a entire team comp around Efferus Ego Spice Bush Yisang. I find Lobotomy Ego Solemn Lament Yisang to be more consistent overall. However, which Yisang you use is up to personal preference, and I will not judge you for using either, as they are both very good. Now let's get on to the skills and specifics of this ID. Okay. First up is the entire thing about the living and the departed. So, the thing is, Butterfly has potency in the count called the living and the departed, Butterfly being a unique type of sinking that Yi Sang himself inflicts. With a max value of 15, so you can have either 15 living or 15 departed, so either 15 potency or 15 count. When hit, the attacker heals the living divided by 4 SP, minimum of 1, rounded down. So you can heal up to 3 to 4 SP per hit against a target with Butterfly, depending on the potency, which is the living. And when hit, and if the unit's SP is at less than 0, take sinking potency divided by 5 gloom damage for every value of the departed. Basically, max gloom damage 30 rounded down, deals half damage to targets without SP, so that's 15 damage to targets without SP. So count is there basically for the gloom damage. It depends on singing potency, so singing potency comps are usually good for him, but you still do want some count support here and there, maybe with like Lobotomy Ego, the Sword Sharpened with Tears, and Wuthering Heights Butler, Otis, maybe even Molar Mail, but like I think Jeong Office Ishmael provides better sinking potency infliction, so I would just use that. Basically, he has a random chance to spend either the living or the departed for his skills, and what he has is dependent on his SP actually. You can see in his passives that at 0 or higher SP, 30% chance to gain the living, 70% chance to gain the departed, so he has more chances to inflict the departed, which inflict gloom damage, and less chance to inflict the living, which heal attackers' SP. So, another thing to note is, because of the living and the departed, the living specifically gives general SP support. However, that's not all it does. Turn end, reset the departed of this effect to 0, then gain sinking equal to the living and convert the living into the departed. Your potency gets converted to the count, and your count gets converted into straight sinking potency, which is insanely cool. So there's always sort of an upkeep with the departed no matter what. No external effects can raise the amount of butterfly inflicted, inflict additional sinking, effects inflict additional sinking instead of additional butterfly. So butterfly is absolutely specific to the living and the departed for Yi Sang. Gregor's Solemn Lament can actually help with this. Anyways, let's talk about his actual skills now. If the target has singing or butterfly, he gets coin power basically on all of his skills. Clash Wind inflict +2 sinking count, so this is sinking count neutral. This just consumes 2 of the living and the departed, choosing randomly. His skill 1 isn't that good, but it's fine for clashing. It's 14 clashing. It's a skill 1. This is about 20 clashing, which is pretty good for skill 2. Inflicts +1 singing count on win, and after attack, gain highest resin of the living and departed. So if he has gloom res, he can gain 6 at ammo. The said resin was a resin, gain highest resin times 2 of the living departed, max 12, so he can reload 12 ammo. This is like his big reload skill, and if the said resin was at 4 plus a resin, reload instead. So reload is basically reloading his entire ammo, and this can be always done. It, however, consumes his SP, which is slightly a downside, but he gains so much SP from the living that it doesn't matter. And what this skill does, it consumes 5 of living in the departed to inflict butterfly, and then it consumes 1 of the living in the departed to inflict more butterfly. So 6 in total, that's pretty good. So you might say, so far, this is like kind of hard to recommend, because like it just seems like he inflicts 2 here, he inflicts 6 here. Like, yeah, that's all good, but like, what value does that truly provide? Like, yeah, living the departed is good, but it doesn't matter as much. Can't get as much butterfly off as you want. Anyways, here's an entire skill where he, fucking mag dumps into you. And he inflicts gloom damage equal to all butterfly on target, meaning he will inflict 20 gloom damage. Yeah, he could just do this. And it's only -1 sinking, because on Clash when it inflicts +3 sinking count, after attack automatically reloads, and does all of the benefits of the Living and Departed for Butterfly, and deals +4 damage for every value of the Living and Departed consumed by the skill, for basically plus 80% damage. So he's a good DPS, he's a good supportive unit, he's fucking crazy. And his block reloads, and it gains shield equal to the sum of both butterfly and the selected target percent HP, so a max of 20% HP. That's basically on top of the shield. You're getting like 41 shield, like flat. That's really good. And let's talk about his passive. You can see here he randomly selects between the Living or the Departed for Butterfly, and when inflicting Butterfly, inflict the same amount of the Living and Departed as they were consumed. You already know this. If this unit runs out of Living and Departed midway through skill use, cancel all subsequent coins and reload. This will basically never happen, because you will always get a skill 3 just to mag dump when reloading. I like how it's the skill, and then it's just like making it a verb. Or when getting the Living and Departed, gain either Living or Departed. I already talked about this. The probabilities are calculated separately for each ammo consumed. And here's his combat passive. After attack, if this unit killed the target with its skill, reload. When this unit gains the Living and Departed, gain 2 haste next turn. So that improves it to a 5-10 speed range. That improves it to a 5-10 speed range, as you can see, which is very good. This ID is all around pretty simple to understand if you understand the concept of Butterfly being the Departed, which is the count being basically gloom damage dependent on potency, and the Living being SP healing for yourself and allies. It's really easy to understand. Also, this can roll, okay, base power +4, so that's 8. That's pretty good. That's 8 base power, alrighty. But then there's coin power +2, so that's 8 +5 +5, 13, 18, 23, 28. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. So that's 28 rolling, which is more than most Zion Ego for very easy conditionals. So if you see you have a skill 3 next turn, you can use a defensive skill to full reload, and then just mag dump into them. It's so good. It's really good. He's very consistent and very fun to use. Anyways, let's actually use him instead of just talking about him. So he'll reload at combat start, and then he'll use his skill 3, which is very good. Look at that DPS. Someone was complaining about in the last video, so I'm gonna move myself over here. Someone was complaining you couldn't see the total damage value. He's actually at -SP, so he's gonna inflict more, as you can see from his passive. He is going to inflict more of the Living, just so he can heal his SP, so he's actually self-sufficient when doing that. And the funny thing is, you might think like, oh, he must conflict with Kyodio a lot. No, Kyodio's base skills actually, lose SP, so no matter what, you lose more SP than you gain from the Living. So he does not interfere with minus coin IDs the way you think he would, which is very good. Oh, if you're wondering why I'm fighting this XP Luxcavation instead of the current one, it's a spoiler for Kanto 9, Smile, so I don't want to do that to you. Obviously, he's not going to do the most damage, but he was contending for top 3, which is pretty notable. And he had good supportive value. Yeah, he's solid. He's more potency focused than his sinking deluge-based brethren, which makes sense because it deal SP damage by sinking count times sinking potency, then remove sinking of targets at SPs -40% or lower. The excess SP damage dealt as gloom affinity HP damage. So it doesn't completely replace Effervescent Ego Spice Bush, but it is notably a good choice if you want to utilize him. It is still a good choice. So you can have 2 different sinking teams just based on one sinner alone and his different IDs, which I think is cool as hell. I think syncing encouraging different team compositions despite being the same status effect is very fun. Like focusing on inflicting the most potency or the most count for Singing Deluge. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a good balance. All right, that's all. Have a good day. Be good people.